we all have to understand childhood messages and the kind of home we grew up in and whether it was functional or dysfunctional and what's going on. But I don't want people to understand it so they can use it as an excuse. There's a difference between understanding childhood messages and the perceptions you may have and how it affected your life, and understanding it so you can then have more self-awareness and make better choices. There's a difference between that or using the childhood as a reason or as an excuse not to do better. And so I always want people to understand their childhood. We're not going to stay there long.
But underestimate it?
Mm-hmm. But don't underestimate how important it is. I mean, a healthy, functional home, if you grew up in a healthy, functional home where there were consequences and it was free from abuse and, there was, you got messages and you were integrated into good values, okay? That's important to know because you're going to be a step ahead of the game from everyone else. You're going to do things differently and say things differently and expect different things. But the reality is some people didn't grow up in that home. They grew up in a home where there was abuse. They grew up in a home where there was a neglect. They got messages that told them they weren't important or they were fat or they were stupid or they were, all sorts of things that happened that created. And I don't want them to use that as an excuse. I want them to be aware that those messages were not true.
And they're part of the reality that needs to be faced.
Right, and that's part of the reality. Your reality now is based on what someone else said to you, how someone else treated you, what someone else did to you. And that was the reality then. But you're an adult now, and the reality now can be different. You can break the cycle. You can begin to make your own choices. So knowing the childhood does go hand in hand with facing reality, because the reality of what you have at your disposal now is very different than what you had at your disposal as a child. You didn't have free choice as a child, but now you do.
I resonate with that so
Right.
much. I keep coming across people, and I'm obviously attracting this to me, or what have you as well, but there's people that are on their parents' case. My parents did this, my parents did that, and I keep telling people, get off your parents' case, because you are 44-year-old
Right. I mean,
CEO of a company.
Kind of like the day you turn 21, there's no one else to blame anymore. Okay, you could have had parents that should have been shot. You could have had schools that didn't, and they're all part of it. That's why I don't want to underestimate it. They did plant seeds and messages in your mind that if you choose now to keep that, if you choose to be angry or sad, and we go back to those same two emotions, the anger and the sadness. If you choose to be sad because this was your upbringing, or you choose to be angry, then those will define you forever, and you'll never break the cycle. You'll never be a different person. But parents can mess up people. They can do great things. Even the best of parents, their kids regret something, or mad at something, or wish they hadn't done something. And so basically we have to do is grow up, and we have to grow up and say, I could have had better parents, that's for sure. I could have had a better job. I could have had this, I could have had that. I didn't. That's the reality. I didn't. But there's another reality, and that is I can totally choose now how I want the next 70 years of my life to go.